What is ऋण अनुबंधन? ऋण अनुबंधन, simply translated in English, is debt bondage. Here they are talking about the karma bandhan, or the bondage created by past karmas that we have performed in our past lives, which have to be negated, neutralized, buffered out before realization can happen. So it's very important to understand what resides in the different shareers in the individual that is embodied. As we know, there are three kinds of bodies. The sthul sharir, or gross body, composed of the Panch Mahabhut of Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham, fire, earth, air, water, ether. Then there is the Sukshma sharir, or subtle body, that is composed of the finer elements. You can think of it as manas, buddhi, ahamkar. Chitta is manas that has been crystallized. It can be individual chitta, and sometimes when you are free of manas, buddhi, ahankar, you can download the cosmic chitta, the cosmic intelligence. When we say some individuals are so prescient, they don't need to read books, they don't need to do swadhyay, their tapas, their pratyahar is strong enough to tell them what is the right thing, and that is the cosmic wisdom that they contain, because they don't have any thoughts, emotions, identifications, which are attributed by manas, ahankar. So those things, thoughts, emotions, identifications, and if you are wise enough, you eliminate thoughts, emotions, identifications, you have wisdom. These things will be lying in the Sukshma Sharir. The third innermost, subtlest body is the Karan Sharir, or causal body. This body carries the Atman with the karmic bondage, or Rin Anubandhan. So today we are going to talk about the Rin Anubandhan that is present in the causal body, or the innermost kernel of Sharirs, which is responsible for formation of future lives, the reincarnations. Every time there is a modicum of Rin Anubandhan left because of past interactions in past lives with other individuals, we have to come back to pay it off, no matter whether we are a siddha, whether we have mastered the art of Ashtanga Yoga. Rin Anubandhan will make you come back and pay it off, neutralize your desires, expectations, cravings, before you can move on to the realm of liberation. So, what is Rin Anubandhan? The Rin is debt, and Anubandhan is the bondage, limitation, boundary. Rin Anubandhan represents the constellation of unpaid debts in the karmic realm, resulting from our past interactions with other individuals. When we have hurt someone, when we have stolen something from someone, when we have annoyed, agitated, irritated someone, that individual who is the recipient can harbor resentment against us, can harbor an expectation. Pay attention to these three words: desire, expectation, cravings. These are the three identifications of ego. So Either the individual who is the perpetrator, initiator, aggravator, has a desire, expectation, or craving that is making him act out this act of sakam karma, and there is a receiver, recipient, victim on whom those karmas have been performed. And this individual also has one of the factors: desires, expectations, cravings, acting out. So, as long as both these individuals have some element of ego playing out during the interchange of this interaction, which we call sakam karma, these two very atmans will come back either in same life or a later life together to neutralize that action. If you have stolen from someone, you will be stolen from in the future. Whether you are stolen from the same Atman or a different individual, that relies solely on the concomitant coexistence mutually of ahamkara modifications as desire, expectation, cravings, both of the individuals at the same time, for them to act it out again in future. So, if one of the individuals is ahankarless, doesn't have the ego, while he was performing the action as the perpetrator in this case, or as receiving the action as a victim, I have been wrong. There's an expectation that you will ask for forgiveness. There's an expectation that karma will make him pay this, God will make him pay this, the neutral Brahman will take care of it, or I will come back and pay, the rajas, if that's activated. But either ways, you see, the victim has not forgiven someone. The moment you forgive some wrong action done to you, you have cut off the cycle of karma then and there. You are not in a karma bandhan. Even if you have to come back to get rewarded, if you will, or punish the other individual for what they did to you, you don't want that. You don't want an extra life around. That is why Socrates, when he was drinking the poison, when he was poisoned for treason, when in Greek, ancient Greek world, when they poisoned this great philosopher Socrates, his last words to his disciples were, I owe a hen from this individual, just go and pay him a hen back. I don't want that debt with me at the time of dying, otherwise he would have come back in another life to pay that very debt for the individual that he owed. So you want to make sure you don't owe any debts, whether in the physical body or the sukshma sharir, because any residue left behind will sediment in the karmic causal body and karan sharir, and then you have to create another sukshma sharir, another gross body, sthul sharir, and come back and pay off the debt. So, for creation of karma, two things are to happen. There has to be at least one individual, an individual who is the perpetrator, or the individual who is the receiver, having some element of ahankara. The element of ahankara will be desire, expectation, or craving. Now, if both these individuals have one of these elements, desire to do something to the victim having expectation, they did something to me and I have to pay it back, then these very two individuals will come back. Now, if one of these individuals at the time of doing the act genuinely believes he has not wronged the individual, but he has a very strong intent or purpose why he did it, and he sacrifices that intent or purpose to the Brahman, to the Ishtadev, to the divine cosmic intelligence, Paramatma, Prakrite Kremarani Guna Karmani Sarasha Ahankar Bunumatma Kartaham iti manyate. The gunas of Prakriti make us do all the things, and the ahankar laden Atma thinks itself to be the doer. When this is there, this delusion of misidentification, which we call glorified words ego, acting out, then these two individuals come back. If one of the individuals disavows, disowns any identification to the activity because he really genuinely believes, not fabricating or rationalizing his activities, but he genuinely believes that it is God that is making him do this, and he can apply principle of dharma, that it is right to do this. In case of Krantikaris in India, revolutionaries who are trying to free their country would be a great example. They are living by the dharma. They are living at the higher levels of Manipura or even Vishuddha, the courage to change the status quo, to free their country. So these individuals, they have an identification, but it's as an identification of dharma. So these individuals can get away. But if you are doing it for carnal desires of swadhisthana, creation, procreation, pleasure seeking, praya tendencies, then it will come back to bite you. So that is the ego part. The second part that I wanted to mention about Rin Anubandhan is the Rin itself. Once it has been performed, the sakam karma, based on the ego identifications of the perpetrator and the receiver, the debt has been registered in the cosmic blockchain, and Paramatma is the ultimate ledger. He is keeping the account book. You two individuals have to come back. Now, if one of them did not believe that he had committed a foul, and he has strong Vishuddha, courage reasons for doing it, he has strong Buddhi-related dharma, differentiation of right and wrong to do it, then that person can bail out. In this case, if that was the aggravator, the perpetrator can be bailed out, and the person on whom the recipient of the actions, good or bad, he will have to find another individual to get his debt paid. So, as long as you forgive an individual for something wrong that they do to you, you are doing yourself a big favor by eliminating another life just to rob from that person. Or if someone does something good to you and you consider you are thankful to that person, grateful to that person, of course you have gratitude, but at the same time you understand that it is the play of Paramatma. And it is God's grace that I got this great gift. Then also you don't have to come back and pay him. But if that individual who was giving to you had strong rajasic tendencies, that I am doing good and I expect to be rewarded, and the recipient also said, yes, this person has done great to me and I have to repay him, both of them are coming back. Neither of them did a service to themselves. So the state of mind at the time of sakam karma being acted out determines whether a Rin Anubandhan has been created. And if both sides, mutual Rin Anubandhan has been created because both of them have some modicum of identification with desire, expectation or craving, both these individuals are coming back. If one of them has bailed out, if one of them has forgiven as a recipient, or as a perpetrator, he employed the concept of dharma and Vishuddha, courage, while doing it, then that person is bailed out. And since the karma has already been performed, the person who is lingering in this combination, either the initiator or the recipient, he has to find another individual with whom he can form the karmic bondage, and hopefully at that time, this remaining individual of the pair has forgiven that individual or thought of dharma as a reason to act out that act so that he can be bailed out. It's all about bailing yourself out in the pair in which you have been absolutely intricately entangled. And by the right state of mind, no sense of proprietorship, doership, ownership, by the state of acting out in the mode of dharma, or in the state of forgiving someone or believing grace of God made this happen, you can absolutely annihilate the sakam karma then and there. So that is the way Rin Anubandhan works. So to summarize, my friends, Rin Anubandhan represents the karmic debt or credit karma that is lying in the causal or karan sharir. Any rin anubandhan or karma that has not been neutralized, negated, will have to be worked out in a future life. Even if you have done bhuta shuddhi for the panch mahabhut of your gross body or sthul sharir, and you have cleaned your mind of thoughts, emotions, identifications which are attributed to manas and ahankara, you having any karmas left unacted will have to be acted out by generating a new sukshma body and a new sthul sharir. Karma bandhan happens when two individuals with some sort of ego modicums, namely desire, expectation, cravings, are interacting with each other to fulfill, satiate their emotions of desire, expectation, cravings. When both of them harness or harbor one of these emotions, desire, expectation, cravings, both of them have to come back in a future life to negate the karma bandhan or the rin bandhan. However, if one of them, for example, the perpetrator, does it in the mode of dharma or believing himself to be not the doer but instrument in the hands of Paramatma to be doing what he's doing for the greater good of the Brahman, for the Shrishti, then he's bailed out. Similarly, if the individual, if it's a bad thing that's being done to him, forgives the perpetrator because thinks of it as a past karma bandhan that is being acted out, or if it's a good activity, he believes it to be a grace of God and doesn't feel any rin. Although he feels gratitude, he doesn't feel any debt for this action, then he is freed out. Our whole goal when something bad happens to us is to think that it was a past karma that is acting out and we are getting out of rin bandhan. So graciously accept, let it be, is the mindset that we have to go with. Not trying to control or suppress any of the natural things happening in the world, but accepting it as Bhagavad Prasad or the outcome of past activities that are playing out and liberating us. That's why it's Prasad or the gift of God. Rin Bandhan will always act out, and if we have new desires sprouting in our minds, we are the initiators. Try not to be initiators of new sakam karmas, because not only you are entangling yourself to be paying back for the desire that you have, but you are entangling other individual who will probably have some grievances, resentment if it's a bad action, or some gratitude, extreme gratitude for which he wants to pay you back, even if you don't want it back. So it's very important to do things in the right mindset of, I am not the doer and it's happening because of grace of God, and I will work to establish dharma. I will open this mouth to speak the truth. Then you are free from karma bandhan. Hope you like this video. Please leave your comments below. Jai Shri Ram.